welcome everybody. Thank you all for coming. On behalf of myself, my name is Tim Hess. On behalf of myself, Chet Wiesenberg of Wiesenberg Architects, Andy Dumke and Cal Schultz of North Point Development, we thank you all for coming today and your willingness to celebrate Smith School here. You know, earning this distinction that is getting placed on the National Register of Historic Places is something that really sets this building apart in terms of its historical significance. Not every old building is historic, and not every historic building is worthy of getting on the National Register of Historic Places. You know, so we are excited to have the opportunity today to celebrate the fact that Smith School has been placed on the National Registry. But one thing that I want to make clear is there's an aspect of Smith School that didn't get on the nomination form. When you write this up, we knew the architectural significance. We knew that Smith played an important role in the education of Oshkosh children for 120 years. What we weren't fully aware of at the time, and what we've quickly learned, is that Smith School is a beloved school, that the community reaches out to us all the time asking questions about, hey, just what are you doing? And it's only because people love this school. The memories that they had were amazing. So we are excited and thrilled to get the opportunity to celebrate it. We've got a number of local leaders here today. I'm going to start off by inviting Bob Peschel of the Oshkosh School Board to come up and speak. And we thank the Oshkosh Area School District and the Board of Education for entrusting us with this building. And yeah, please, sir, let us know what you think. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming out today. I want to start off in recognizing that a portion of Oshkosh was built around Smith School. When you look at all these houses that are here, when you look at all the kids that went to school here and all the families and the teachers that changed generations of lives through Smith School, that's an important adventure that took place that Oshkosh would not be complete if it wasn't here. So I appreciate the recognition of the historical designation that is coming with this building, in the sense that it's one of the things that our school board had the foresight in thinking about when we were going through the process of determining what to do with the building and decommissioning it as a school. So I want to acknowledge that I wasn't the school board president at that time. Dr. Barbara Herzog was. She contributed to the comments that I'm going to say today, but it's really an acknowledgement that it's a process that gets to this point. And in our process, in our community, as Tim just said, our community loved Smith School. They let us know that. There was a large movement to not decommission it as a school. But we as a school board were set with this really challenging task of having to say, is this the right building to be educating kids in anymore? Is it the safest spot? Are there concerns that we as a board need to address for the longevity of education as it relates to these historic walls? And we said yes. We said that we needed to address this as a school. And I've always believed in the notion that unfortunately sometimes the age of buildings can't outlive the educational needs of our students. And that was the unfortunate case here. So we got a lot of pushback from our community in changing this from a school to now a historical site, and that was needed. We needed to hear from the community about that, because tough decisions like this shouldn't go by quietly. So with that, So I acknowledge the community's feeling about its connection to this school today, and as it moves forward. So, but honestly, the easiest decision was making that decision as a board, and everyone on the board agreed with this, was that we wanted life beyond Smith School as a school. We wanted the building to live on in a historical, to have a historical impact on the community. And all the developers, all the people that put in RFPs, all acknowledged that when we put out an RFP for the community to look to purchase this, was that we wanted to maintain the historical elements of this building. We wanted the next owner to be able to do that same thing. And so one of the things that was unique about their application was that they had already put in legwork at the help of Shirley Maddox, Rob Bender Maddox, in determining what level of consideration this building would have historically. And we were told immediately that it had a high chance of getting historical recognition on the national level. And so from that perspective, it was really easy for us to move forward with in a relationship to sell the property to these developers. So it was great. The community is going to be very pleased and happy with what is put out. Ironically, I'm gonna paraphrase Kurt Vonnegut, because he's my favorite author, and he tends to believe that nothing ever good comes from the involvement of government in this. And ironically, in this situation, government had the foresight to say this wasn't the right space anymore. This was the right space to make sure that we kept it alive historically for our community. And so with that, he really meant that it was all the neighborhoods, all the people make government work the right way. And that's a learning thing in our world as we know democracy. But it's absolutely right. We found when we started the discussion about Smith School was that we had families that went to school here. We had teachers that taught here. I actually used to hang out a lot here as a kid because I grew up in the neighborhood. So we found that it was the stories and the foundations that Smith School created that created the history, not just the physical architectural history, but the social history of this property. And I'm happy to say that the next steps are going to continue that social history of this building. The people that are going to move into here, they're going to see what's been saved. They're going to see what is going to move forward and build the next level of foundation of housing in our community, specifically in this neighborhood. So I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. All of you developers and all of your staff and all the time and energy that you're putting into just getting us this far is absolutely amazing. I'm excited to see the finished product, and I'm more excited to see what it's going to look like when people are living in these walls again and learning and growing in these walls. So thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks again, Bob. Thank you, school board members and Dr. Davis, for showing up and showing your support. Next, I would like to invite, when we did, as Bob mentioned, when we heard that there was an opportunity to potentially buy this school, we did reach out and try to figure out, was it historic? And one of the first persons that I called was the chair of the Landmarks Commission, Shirley Brabender Maddox here. And I asked her, what did you think? And oh boy, she was very positive of it. And in fact, the next day, she showed up to our office with books in hand after having gone to the library and had everything laid out for us, which was just an amazing help for us. So I consider Shirley a friend, and I thank you for coming today. And could you please come and talk a little bit about why you think this is a great school.
Thank you, Tim. I received an email from Tim. We'd never met. He said he knew who I was, and it's been a good relationship. I'm pleased to represent the Landmarks Commission to celebrate the nomination of this historic building to the state and National Register of Historic Places. This honor was bestowed on this historic building where it has been a school for 124 years in this community, right here where we are. And it's on the site of the Smith family farm, which goes way back into the early 1800s. And so the history precedes the building, and it's all part of this community. For many years, the Landmarks Commission has looked at for opportunities to find a historic building district on the south side to celebrate your history. And when this opportunity came up, we were thrilled. Not only is this a historic building, though, it's kind of the soul of this community. Oftentimes we say a community is connected with a church, a school, and that unites the families. Well, in this community, I believe it's Smith School. At the dedication program, we're standing right now in front of the first building. There were 4 classrooms here that eventually were bursting at the seams. And so at the dedication of the addition on the side in 1932, it was attended by over 3,000 people. So if we multiply this by 10, and they crammed into the kindergarten. Well, they didn't all get in there, so they ended up going down the hallway. But at that dedication, Mrs. Rickman, who was the president, they had a woman president of the Board of Education back in 1932, she said, "This community may congratulate itself on the skill which has united the graceful," if you look at the doorways, "the graceful and substantial building placed here 35 years ago." That was back in 1896. "With a new and modern addition, which shows no line of demarcation between the new building and the old." Now, this was possible because the architect of this building that we're looking at was William Waters. He had an assistant, he had a partner, and his name was Henry Oler. And they worked together for 10 years. But William Waters was the person that everybody knows. When William Waters died, Henry Oler then became and took over a practice. And so when it came time for Smith School to put on an addition, the addition that was put on looks like this, because he honored the beauty and the skill, the design standards that he had probably shared with William Waters. So this looks like one unified building, and it's to the skill of those 2 architects that we owe that to. I want to acknowledge that this historic designation that we're honoring and celebrating today is only possible because of the pride of this neighborhood, the pride of the custodians and the teachers who took care of this building and preserved it so that it is possible for it to be recognized and honored today. Sometimes it's the people in the background that make great things happen eventually. This building and all historic buildings contain the memories of the people that were here. And so this building will always contain the memories of those thousands of children that were educated by their devoted teachers for 124 years. And so congratulations to this community. Congratulations to the developers, to Tim and his team. that have taken this on and will respect the history and give this building a new life. It will continue. And as people drive by, it is still Smith School, but it will have another life. So thank you all for coming. Thank you. I have a book I'm going to present to Tim. Maybe it can stay in the school. This is a collection of articles. Do you know the book?
Yes.
Oh, all right. This is another one then, in which all the articles that were ever covered about William Waters are in this book. And there are 4 pages in this book on just Smith School back in 1895 and 1896. So you might have a corner where you can put this.
Awesome. Thank you, Shirley. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. So we were recently notified that unfortunately Mayor Paul Mary couldn't make it today. But I don't want to understate the significance of how much the city has helped us in this regard. That being all of the commissions, whether it's the Landmarks Commission, the Planning Commission, or the Common Council, and city staff, including City Manager Roloff, Kelly Nyforth, Director of Community Development, Mark Lyons, Stephen Wiley. All you guys have substantially helped us, and we couldn't do that without your support. So again, I want to thank all of you. On the interest of time, I'm going to not have anybody from the city have a talk today, but we're good with that. We're good with that. Wonderful. Next, I want to invite, I believe we've got, yes, Randy Domer from the Winnebago County Historical and Archaeological Society. Randy is a local historian and has written several books on Oshkosh history, and they too have supported, I believe, wrote a letter and helped us in the nomination process. So we thank the Historical Society, and we thank you for coming today and supporting us. So Randy, please join us. Hopefully this is your height. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tim. And by the way, the Smith School section is pages 188 through 192 in the book.
Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. And when we were invited to speak today, I was pleased and flattered to be invited to be part of this program because of the importance of it. And so, not knowing what the other speakers were going to have to say, I decided to put my text into a little bit of a history lesson, if I could. It's indeed with great pleasure that we stand here today to celebrate the historical designation of a piece of Oshkosh's treasured past. The site that stands before us has a deep history that began before Oshkosh was a city. John Smith was one of the earliest settlers in Oshkosh, arriving here in 1845. With a team of oxen, he staked his claim and built a log cabin that following winter. He farmed this land until his death in 1883. Over the years, Smith parceled off portions of this land, with one parcel being sold to the city of Oshkosh in 1866 for the purpose of building a school. That school was 28 feet by 40 feet and named Smith School. 55 pupils enrolled here that first year. By 1894, concerns over the condition of the school were raised, and the Board of Education recommended that a new schoolhouse be built. In 1896, a new school designed by noted architect William Waters was built. The construction contract was awarded to Meyer and Domke, who had the lowest bid of $6,741, well below the budget of $8,000. In 1928, the family of John and Sarah Buckstaff gifted the adjacent property to the city to be used for playground purposes. The historic marker you see located here on Oregon Street was erected in 1933 by the Smith School Parents and Teachers Association, commemorating the Smith Buckstaff contributions to this city. Whenever a historic property like this is repurposed, it's more than one step in our community's effort to preserve our local history. Other sites like the Howard, the Waite Rug Company, the Doe House, and most recently the Corbett House, among many others, are wonderful examples of those efforts. Today we recognize the efforts of Chet Wiesenberg Architects and the organizations within the City of Oshkosh, including the Board of Education, working in concert to make this historic occasion. On behalf of the Winnebago County Historical and Archaeological Society, we congratulate you on receiving the designation by the National and Wisconsin's Register of Historic Places. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. So next, we're going to invite up State Senator Fayen. When I first reached out to Shirley, and we knew we were going to do the registration, she knew that we need to get support of all of our local leaders. And Senator Fayen was one of the first to respond to say, yes, I'm happy to write a letter for us. And then so too, when we knew we were going to hold this event, he responded immediately, yes, I'd be happy to join. So we thank you very much, sir, for coming out, and please come and give us a few words. Thanks.
Good afternoon. I was thinking while we were preparing these remarks that if these walls could talk, 124 years of stories and teachers and students. So thank you for having me today, and congratulations on the incorporation of the historical Smith Elementary School into the National Registry of Historic Places. Smith School has been an integral part of the community for more than a century, and it truly deserves national recognition. Smith Elementary School educated students and served our community for 124 years, from the day it was opened until the day closing in 2019. The historic tax credit that is now available to facilitate will assist in the redevelopment of this building for private residential use. The plan to renovate the former school into a low-income apartment building while retaining the architectural elements. This redevelopment will ensure the school building continues to serve the Oshkosh community for years to come. This will also help fill a need for more affordable workforce housing within our communities. The designation of Smith School into National Historic Registry of Places is a huge honor. Congratulations, and I'm excited to see what the former school does in its future to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Appreciate it. So we're here today to celebrate its history, but certainly a part of its history is also thinking about what's going to happen in the future. So I'm going to invite up my business partner, Chet Wiesenberg, here, so he can tell us a little bit about what we can expect, what's going to happen in the future of this beautiful building. Chet, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Tim. Well, thank you, everybody. The future. So, you know, you can't look to the future without looking towards the past, I guess. And I can say, Wiesenberg Architects and our team, we take a lot of pride in saving these old buildings. Buildings aren't built the same as they used to be, and this building is no exception of that. With following in the footsteps of William Waters and Henry Aller is a great honor, and it's something that our team is taking seriously and looking to preserve all the historic elements and replace the newer elements with a new life and breathing a new life into this. What we are planning to do here is provide low-income housing. We are planning 31 new renovated apartments, and we'll bring in life to this building for many years to come. And we're very proud to be able to do that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chet. So we are about to do the unveiling, but before I do that, Chet and his staff, the architectural team, we've got architectural plans there. We've got a virtual walkthrough that you guys can see what the building looks like, and there's some elements of what it will look like that are pretty cool. After too, we've got a bunch of awesome Smith School cookies that we would ask you all to partake in, all right? So I think, again, I would like to invite Shirley Maddox up here, if you don't mind, Shirley. Shirley, if you would, could you please pick up that big scissors down there? And we're first gonna do a test cut, all right? So Shirley, see this ribbon right here? Let's test that. Let's see, you gotta get way down at the bottom. Give it a shot. That's awesome. She's got it. So, let us count down from 3, and Shirley, you will do the next one then, yes. I would love for you to do it, Shirley, please. It's good. So, let's count down from 3. 3, 2, 1. Wonderful. Thank you all for joining us. If you could, we would like you all to come up and we could stand by the National Register sign, and we'd like to get a picture of as many who are willing to take a picture with us. All right? Awesome. Again, thank you for coming.